Good day, folks. Welcome back to another time video. So we got a bit of a classic pattern for you coming up here. I've been actually this year experimenting a lot more with nymphs and stuff than I have in the past, and fishing them. I mean, we fish a ton of chironomids, leeches, attractors, but we sometimes forget about this stuff. So what I've got here is a little fullback pattern, fairly straightforward to tie. Tie this one in slightly bigger sizes to rep kind of damsels, dragons, that kind of thing. This is a size 12 curve nymph hook, and it's a 7/64 gold bead. And then I've got some olive Danville 70 thread. So I'm just going to get tied in, dress the hook down to the bend, grab some of this pheasant tail, and I've got about 8 or so pheasant tail fibers. And I'm just going to get that tied in right on top. Not a super long tail, but you can see about there is good. And then just wrap back on that a little bit. Come up to about the 3/4 point on the shank. And I'm going to grab some small gold ultra wire. And we'll tie that in to rib the fly. So I'll just capture this like so and tie that back right back to where we left everything else. So get that nice and snug there. Now I've got some, this particular one I'm using a tan dubbing, but feel free to mess around with the dubbing colors. You can do tan, you can do brown, you can do black, you can do olive, all kinds of different dubbing, so play around with the color. Actually, this combo, I'm tying it bigger sizes, but when tied in a smaller size, can be a wicked mayfly imitation. So play around with it. Feel free to mess about with the colors. And what I'm doing is I'm just gonna, as I go forward, just throw bit of taper into that there, so not a ton, but just a wee bit. And then I'm going to fold this pheasant tail right over the top and just capture that so that it's nice and centered right on top there. Make sure that's where we want it. Looks good there. And just like so. Now I'll take my wire and just throw 4 or 5 segmentations in here, just like that. I counter wrap that. You don't have to on this one, but tie off the wire, spin it out of there, and then rather than snip this out, we're just going to fold this back, just like that. Make sure it's lined up. It is. And then this area will be our thorax. So go back to the same dubbing here and just build up a little bit of a thorax. So again, continuing our taper, we want our thorax a little bit thicker than our body. So I'm just going to build that up. Like so. And just adding a little bit of dubbing at a time. That looks good. Come over with my wing case, clamp down on that, give it a couple turns, and then just trim out that excess. And then the buggy fibers, don't worry too much. This is definitely more for me than it is the fish. They don't mind these things when they're buggy. So probably fish is better. Now I've just got a tiny little partridge soft tackle here. So I'm just going to grab a small little feather and just prep this for tie-in. So all I do is kind of pull the fibers back, so I've got a little triangle up top here. You're only going to want 1.5 wraps of this. So I just grab that tip there, get that secured, and then grab my hackle pliers, grab a hold of this stem. This feather may be a wee bit too big for this size of pattern, but we'll see how it works here. So just sweep everything back, couple, even if you get one turn in there, that looks really good. I can capture that, pull that out of there, make sure it's nice and secure, which it is. Trim out that stem, grab my whip finisher, come in here. This is a cool spot to throw a hot spot or something like that if you wanted to, right at the collar there. Trim that out, and then that is all she wrote. So just kind of force those fibers down, but you could see you got a super buggy, awesome little pattern there. These things rock. So call me old school, but I've been digging some of the old school stuff lately. If you got any of them that want to stand up and don't cooperate, just trim them out of there. So there it is. That's the simple little killer fullback. Give that a try. Fun one to tie, awesome one to fish, and it catches. So that's all there is to it. Thanks very much for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't. And until the next one, cheers and tight lines.